Hey guys, so in today's video, we're going to be doing a patch 14.4 rundown, talking about what has changed in the new patch. These are the patch notes officially released by Riot, so everything and all the information in here is in fact accurate. I think I've seen a couple of videos and posts from different creators who are posting stuff that weren't fully correct or not. It's like using a lot of data mined information, so me personally, I don't know how accurate that information was, so I wanted to wait for the official notes to be released before we could talk about them. I think they were released about, I want to say like 7-8 hours ago. I was actually asleep at the time, so it's cool that we get to talk about them now, so let's go over them. So this is, by the way, a first time pass. I've not actually looked through any of this myself, so there's a lot of really interesting stuff to cover, and we'll be watching this together. As they always do, there are patch highlights, so we can look over this as well. This is a quick overview of the patch, and it looks like a bunch of stuff got buffed. Cypher, Golden Ox, Divinicore, Nitro, Techie, Vanguard. That all looks okay to me. Kog'Maw, Alawi, Shyvana, Skarner, Elise, Seri, Misfortune, Renekton, Kobuko. Kobuko buffs is okay, that's fine as well. More of a trait bot at the moment, but maybe you can itemize them now. Bastion Emblem, Marksman Emblem, Dynamo, Slayer Emblem. Marksman Emblem is a little bit interesting to me just off of a first look. And then 13 different augments are buffed. Nerfed wise, the Fury, TF, Brand, Nico, Vex. That does look like the entire S tier line. Mana Zane also got nerfed as well, which I think makes sense. It's easily the best performing artifact compared to anything else, so that seems to be good. Golden Fire, Blue Battery, and Flatline being the augments that were nerfed as well, and along with 8 others. So looks good to me as well. I think those augments were definitely very, very strong. And adjusted wise were implants and hostile takeover. That seems fine to me as well. The only thing, again, the only thing that stands out immediately to me is Marksman Emblem getting buffed and Misfortune getting buffed. I think recently we've been seeing a increase in popularity when it comes to 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman, where you play 4 Vanguard in the front line, but you actually put a Marksman Emblem onto Misfortune, and you play her as a tertiary carry in the back line. And if you get to a point where you can actually itemize Aphelios, Xayah, Misfortune, and Leona, and you have all of them in the back line doing a fuck ton of damage, this line actually becomes incredibly strong. So that is something that I think is a bit interesting to see. I think this was something that they couldn't really predict, because I think when they were probably locking in the changes, this wasn't really that popular at the time. So nowadays, because it's become more popular, this is something that's definitely going to be on my radar a little bit. But anyways, let's scroll down a little bit. Rotating shop, I'm not going to go over too much about these other things. It looks like there's a Garen and Unbound and Chibi Akali. That's pretty cool for KDA. Set Revival, Set 10 is actually now onto the live servers at the time of this patch going out. So that's really cool. If you didn't get a chance to play set 10, it is easily my favorite set of all time. It is not even close for me personally. It was the set that I peaked the highest. I peaked at about 900 LP Challenger. Really great set. I love it so much. The music's awesome. The units are super cool. Easily my favorite set, and it's not even close. So I'm actually, for the first time ever, going to be playing a set Revival, and this is going to be the one that I play. So very excited for this one, and it's going to be super fun. Just real quick, simplifying cosmetic tiers. It looks like Little Legends released prior to patch 14.5 in the rare and epic tiers will be combined to a new standard tier, and then non-upgradable Little Legends and Booms are designated as 3-star content. So I'm not really sure what that means too much. I just used the Ice Feather Knight. That's just me personally. You guys know me, so that doesn't really apply to me, but maybe this change affects you in some way or another. Another thing to note is the system changes. So there's actually great that we have information on this, because I think I was looking at some of the content. I think nobody really has some system changes in their content, so I'm glad that Riot is coming out with this stuff on the official patch notes. First one is the PvE loot. So at the start of Cyber City, hacks provided enough loot to typically fully itemize 2 carries and a primary tank. We've since lowered the amount of total loot you get, but we're still seeing games have ever so slightly too much on average. Ever so slightly is an interesting adjective to use. It's a lot. With the loot changes in 14.4, you can expect to see about 1 less item component and, in a few cases, 1 less silver and blue loot orb. So that's actually pretty good. I like that a lot. I think you've heard this from a lot of streamers, that there's a ton of inflation inside the set. So there's so much gold, so many items. So seeing that there's going to be less of it now, and it's going to be a little bit harder to, you have to be a little more prudent with your choices when it comes to itemizing your units. I think that's really great. I think it increases skill expression a little bit. The most extreme example of the above is Scuttle Puddle and Crab Brave. Not even a crab can hold all those items, so we're reducing total component drops by 2. Ooh, okay, nice. So overall, they generally lowered the amount of loot you get from PvE rounds, and Scuttle Puddle and Crab Brave no longer add 2 additional components. So that means it's a lot less items that you can expect going into, maybe not a lot less, but like 1 less, 2 less components. That's actually quite a lot to take away from the game. It's not enough that I think it's gonna be game warping, but you will feel it. So I'm really interested to see how these changes go in, and overall I think this is a positive change. I like this a lot. I hope that it affects the gold in some way or another, but I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be the case. Next one, Black Market Augment hacks. Black Market Augments are some of the most exciting moments in Cyber City. That is subjective, but they're far too rare for how many total Black Market Augments there are. We're increasing the odds of seeing these highly illegal augments, but if you're a law-abiding cyber citizen who fears the illicit market, you can always click the middle or rightmost option. We won't judge. Slightly increase the odds of Black Market Augment hacks appearing on 2-1. I'm not the biggest fan of this one necessarily, but I guess I will have to just see and you know, understand how things really play out. I think it's a little too quick to jump the gun to say like, oh, like this is a bad change or anything. Because at the end of the day, a lot of players are not playing like that many games. Like, you know, I mean, if you're watching this channel or if you are playing TFT competitively, you are playing hundreds of games, right? But for the average player who's probably playing like what, 10 to 50 games a set, like this seems like a very good change overall. So I can see the direction that they're going with this. Next one, hack Golem Armory. Gold Generator Golem was almost always the wrong pick. We love the risky energy of the option, but what if it made it sometimes worth the risk? Introducing the RNG Golem, equipped with a random emblem, artifact, and radiant item. Wow, RN Golem could be your way to a Prismatic trait, an amazing item combo, or just a faster gray screen. They can be your 9 Shining Armor or the Trashy that you still haven't taken out. The Gold Generator Golem has been replaced with the RNG Golem. This Golem is equipped with a random emblem, an random artifact, and a random main item. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, okay, so me personally, not a fan of this change. This sounds like an incredible amount of RNG, and it sounds like, I could be wrong, but it sounds like you kind of have to click on RNG Golem every single time. Maybe not every single time. If your spot is already incredibly good, you really don't want to like absolutely ruin it. But the fact that somebody could get absolutely bailed out by RNG Golem, especially with a +1 already, this sounds really bad. This kind of sounds almost like Trainer Golem 2.0. You can't play around it, but there are going to be definitely a ton of games where people just get bailed out because they hit the random emblem that they needed to hit a 10 Prismatic trait. Or maybe they just found some incredible, like, radiant item plus, like, artifact combination that is just absolutely disgusting. Like, maybe, like, an Anima Visage plus, like, radiant Warmogs. That could exist. So, that's a bit scary, to say the least. It seems like the variance is insanely high. So, I mean, if they lower the possibility of this portal coming up, I would feel less weird about it. But me personally, if I see this shit, I'm gonna be very scared. I'm not gonna be happy about it. I think at the end of the day, you're gonna have some people who get giga bailed out by this shit, and I can already hear a lot of people malding about this. So on the competitive side, don't like it, but for the fun side, I can potentially see this being good. So we'll see, because there's gonna be some very high rolls and very low rolls, so that's gonna be interesting. But moving on, hacks with eggs. We're removing our worst performing 13-turn egg drop and buffing another to make our highest risk egg more consistent. How excellent. Improve the power of the 13-turn egg. So that's pretty cool. So the 13-turn egg is actually changed, so we should have some drop tables somewhere. I'm sure somebody will data mine the info. I think the odd one, or the mindful one, not the odd one, that's a different guy. Mindful one over on Twitter is likely the guy to go to if this table does get released somewhere. Somewhere on Meta TFT, I'm sure somebody has the improved tables. So it'll be interesting to see if the 13-turn egg is actually clickable, because before it was just not clickable at all. So good change on them for this one. Large changes. Next, large, like the chance RNG Golem looks down upon your board, smiles, and gives you the trait emblem you needed. Editors note this is not a large chance. All RNG Golem outputs are completely random. Okay, so at least that's good to know. At least it's random, but again, it's scary to say the least. Traits. Oftentimes, upon cashing out with Cypher, you drop 3 to pivot to a more expensive board. With our Cypher 4 and 5 buffs here, we hope to see more boards field LeBlanc and Vi. Wow, okay, interesting. So they're buffing 4 or 5 Cypher again. That's incredible. Okay, we'll see. I wonder how good reroll Cypher might become. I'm not entirely sure how good that would ever be, but I mean, you see some people playing LeBlanc reroll, and you see people playing Draven and Galio, but I wonder if you would hold like the other shitters as well to like potentially buff them, and maybe there's a world that they're actually good. Divinicore is intended to be played as a splash trait in a vertical, but we're seeing most of its success in splashing into other comps. With buff to Divinicore's deeper breakpoints, we have this corporation establishes monopoly throughout Cyber City. So it sounds like Divinicore is getting a buff on the heavier end, deeper into the trait, which I actually think, like, Divinicore, if you can get to the highest point, it's actually already really strong. It has a really high cap. It's just kind of hard to get there. And I think a lot of players undervalue Zed a lot as a unit. So I'm interested to see how this plays out with everything else surrounding it getting nerfed, but it's interesting to see how, you know, it plays out. I feel like I said that was very redundant. Next one. Nitro 4 is rarely worth fielding past building your robot faster, particularly with the boss laser to make this laser show more than just for show. Interesting. And then lastly, while Solid splashes some endgame boards, Vanguards are almost never being fielded as a class vertical. We're adding some more guard to the trait to open up more super carry comms that rely upon a van full of frontliners. So it sounds like vertical Vanguard is getting buffed. So let's talk about it. First off, Cypher 80 and AP got buffed again after cash out. Instead of 45, it becomes 50 80 AP, and instead of 65, it is 70. So an additional 580 AP after cash out. That's not a large enough change that I think it's like crazy, but I don't know if it'll affect it, but it might start slowly shifting the gears a little bit. We'll see. I think they're just like getting a little cautious because they don't want to go too far over the edge, and then suddenly it's just Cypher every single game. Next one, Divinity Core bonus stats have been buffed as well. So from 100, 110, 125, 140, 160. Here we go. So starting from Divinity Core, from the 5 breakpoint, it seems like it's getting buffed with an additional 5 to 10 to 10% going deeper into the trait. So Divinity Core 5, 6, and 7 have been buffed, which again I think is good. I think Divinity Core was again already like decent. It was never the main line because Vex is usually the carry that you play with Zed if you're playing Divinity Core, and then it's like it doesn't feel very good outside of the Exotech because Varus 2 was just so much better. But I think Zed 2 is still perfectly fine, and I think as a unit, especially tempoing with Divinity Core, which is very possible because some of the units are very, very strong. This looks like a decent change to me. So I think Divinity Core actually might be a very, very strong composition going to the next patch, but we'll see how this plays out. But overall, I think this is already a very playable line, especially with the +1 from Golem. So this will be interesting to see how things work out. Next one, Golden Ox base damage amp also got buffed slightly. So on the 4 and 6 breakpoint, it looks like it went from 22 to 24, and then 25 to 26 on the 6. So this is probably, Golden Ox is like barely playable. It's like barely playable, so I would expect that this is probably enough to push it over the edge, that it's definitely a playable enough line from the right spots. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Nitrochrome also got buffed as well. Wow, that's interesting. So actually, that is a crazy jump. It went from 12 to 25. Am I reading that right? 236 to 12, and then 237 to 25. So actually, if you can get that 4 Nitro in early, that's a shit ton of Chrome. Wow, I'm really interested to see how that plays out. So I guess Nitro reroll is definitely looking a lot more plausible. It definitely does seem to be way more summon heavy. So it's way more focused on like the bug or the robot or the T-Hex, whatever you want to call it. The 4-piece laser damage has also been buffed as well. So it looks like 425 already bumping up from the first tier to 460, 450 up to 490, 475 to 520, and 500 up to 550. So I'm interested to see if this actually changes anything. But this is an absurd amount of Chrome to be adding on the 4-tier piece, so you definitely want to tech in 4 as soon as possible. So I guess nowadays, if you get an Elise drop from an orb, this could actually change something. So I'm actually really interested to see how this plays out, because I'm a huge, like, I love like Nitro reroll. It's just really fun for me. So I just love seeing the big thing like stack up. So this is really interesting to see. So super excited. I want to try it. Techie AP also been buffed as well across the vertical. It looks like on the 6 piece it's been buffed up to 90, and then on the 8 piece it's been up to 130. So an extra 5 AP on the 6 and 8. Don't think that's going to be enough to really change too much. We have been seeing a little bit of a resurgence of Techie being more popular with One For All, with Seraphine and Zyra reroll. I don't think the line in particular is that good. It's more of a tempo line, but maybe this is enough to push it slightly over the edge once you get to 6 Techie. But even then, in that board, you end up on 4 Techie, I believe 4 Techie, 4 Bruiser for a while, or someone correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the line is like, I've hardly played it, so I've never talked about it on like a meta-analysis. But like, it's like Seraphine 3, Zyra 3, Mundo, Alistar 3, and then some yada 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 bullshit. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how that plays out. But overall, I don't think this will change too much in terms of the Techie vertical, unless some like massive changes come to like Brand, and then maybe to like 3-star Shyvana maybe, or 2-star Nico, like whoever the frontline is. It's probably Mordekaiser, but Mordekaiser is already a strong unit, so I don't know. I'm interested to see how this plays out. It's just the Techie line, just the front line just feels very flimsy. That's just the only problem that I really have with it. I don't think it's really I don't know if it's a damage issue necessarily, but I digress. Vanguard durability while shielded has been increased to 12%. So Vanguards at every trait breakpoint has actually been buffed, and then the 6-piece durability has actually been increased to 18%. Will 6 Vanguard actually be good? I'm not entirely sure. I think right now the only line that comes to mind in terms of playing 6 Vanguard is actually Morgana reroll, which was like a Morgana Vanguard reroll variation that like popped up about a week ago. And so far I've gone second with it before, but it was only with the Prismatic Augment investment strategy. And that's the only time I've ever actually found success with it. Ever since I decided that, I never really found too much success. So I'm interested to see if this actually does anything. But it does sound like the front line is a bit stronger, and maybe it's easier to tempo with the increased durability when shielded from 10 to 12%, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, so we'll see how that goes. One-class units, Kalma got buffed from 50 to 53 AD, so Vomit harder, very nice. Not much to really talk about there. Not sure if it's going to be changing anything, but maybe it does. 2 cost. Nefuria has seen some success in reroll AMP comps, especially alongside 5 AMP and an Artifact or Hyperfangs. Actually, it's Pulse, so Hyperfangs is actually incorrect. Pulse is going to be the big one. We're taking some of her alpha burst damage down so she doesn't make her target, and the carry behind them disappear instantly. Last patch, we changed TF to make him less reliant on Rage Blade, and while that was a success, it left this card shark feeling like a card Megalodon. That's an interesting word. Alawi has been buffed for a 5 armor MR. That seems like it's something. Maybe, I mean, it makes the LeBlanc line slightly more playable. It's already actually pretty good, so it can be good. It's just buffing the LeBlanc line. The Fury has been nerfed by 10% AD. I think that is totally acceptable. Shyvana has been buffed, so that's interesting. And Shyvana HP gain has also been buffed as well. That's gone from 40 to 105 to 50 to 100 for the mana. And then 200, 250, 300 to 200, 270, and then 340. So the big change here is the HP gain has been up by 20 on 2-star and then by 40 on 3-star. Skarner mana has been buffed as well, actually. So this is a buff because it takes less mana for him to cast. And then the Skarner spell damage has also been buffed as well, I believe. So it looks like, yep. So spell damage armor percentage has gone from 150 to 170 now on 1-stars. Same on 2-stars, and actually has increased a little bit on 3-stars. So that's interesting to see. I think Skarner was already a decent unit standalone. I don't think he was necessarily like bad, but I think this is a change specifically aimed to try to make Kog'Maw reroll a little more appealing with Boombot. So I'm interested to see if this does anything, but with also the Vanguard buffs as well. I'm interested to see how much this actually changes everything. And then finally, TF nerfs is 265, 400, 595 to 245. So actually minus 20 AP on the Empowered Damage card, minus 35 AP on the Tier 2, and then minus, how much is this? 45 on the Tier 3. So that's actually quite a fuck ton. So I'm not sure if that actually nerfs him to the ground, but that is a pretty sizable nerf. So I'm actually really interested to see how that plays out. So that's actually quite a lot. We'll see how TF fares after all the changes. 3-cost units. It looks like Elise has been buffed as well. So Nitro, Shyvana, and Elise are all getting buffs, which should be a huge buff for Nitro reroll. The comp is currently performing as one of our worst in Cyber City, so it's much needed, and it's a future where we might even have to buff it again to ensure its viability. I know Raptor, or Demacian Raptor, over on the EUNE server, I think he's rank 2 or rank 1 at this point. He actually really likes Elise 3. So I know he never plays it from like I angle Elise, but it's like a I can tempo into it and play Elise 3. So I know he's been finding some success with Dynamo recently, and Elise 3 in particular, so I'm a little interested to see how this plays out. But again, it seems to be more aimed at like Nitro buffs overall and Nitro reroll, so I'm curious to see if this is going to be enough to really push it over the edge. But Elise standalone by herself as well is totally fine. You just can't really, it's weird, you can't angle it, but you can play into it. It seems to be the vibe. But maybe you can actually angle it from 2-1, and that's going to be what they're trying to aim for. 4-cost units. Brand and Street Demon strategists have been the big winners of patch 14.3. That is very true. Everyone is aware and everyone is suffering. We are shipping a few changes to his ability to prevent casts from coming too close together alongside a Nigo nerf to keep the chop in check. Misfortune and Zeri are so close to viable dual carries. With a small buff to the two of them, be sure to try out Exotech Dynamo comps, where you find yourself loaded up on bows, swords, and a lot of gold. So they're actually specifically targeting MF Zeri. That's pretty cool, because that comp is actually really cool. It just hasn't been a comp that's been like as good compared to the Brand and Vexotech super meta. So looks like Brand mana has been nerfed, so now it takes longer for him to get that first cast up, from 25 down to 10 mana at the beginning of a fight. But he actually casts the same amount. It's still 70 mana. Brand's ability now always arrives at his target after 0.75 seconds. This is similar timing to the current throw at 4 hexes, but will be much faster for long range. Okay, so they actually increased the, what is it, throw time? Or like the arrival of his ability. But it's faster for long range throws, so that's interesting. And then Brand's mana lockout is now fixed duration of 1.9 seconds. Previously, it was 0.5 seconds after the missile landed, between 1.4 and 2.9 based on the distance from the target. So, interesting. It was 0.5 seconds after the missile landed, but now... So he's actually mana locked for longer. So it lands faster, but it takes a little bit more time for it to cast. So that's interesting. It's now a fixed duration of 1.9 seconds, between 1.4 and 2.9% target. So, I mean, overall, it is a nerf. But... Okay, I'm not smart enough to figure out whether or not this is going to be good or bad. But I will say that it takes longer for him to get the first cast off, and that first cast is very important. That much I do know. So, interesting. I think this is kind of a weird take, because at the end of the day, if we go up a little bit, right? I think it was the techie changes. Vertical techie got buffed, like the trait, but Brand then gets nerfed. And this Brand unit, you can talk to anybody talking about this, but Brand as a unit doesn't feel very good outside of 7th Street. And this is kind of the problem with Brand right now, where it's really 7th Street Demon. The trait is the problem. It's not the unit. So The fact that they nerfed brand and not the trait is a little surprising to me. But that is how I currently see it, personally speaking. Misfortune 80. Moving on, has been buffed by 3 AD, so that is good. Zeri attack speed has also been buffed as well from 0.75 to 0.8. Sorry, I am skipping down a little bit. I apologize. I just see MF Zeri, so that was the first thing that just immediately jumped out to me. Next one, Nico Mana also has been nerfed by an extra additional 5 mana in order to get that first cast off. And then the Vex primary damage has also been nerfed as well. So, She Demon with Nico and Brand has definitely gotten worse. Vex has also gotten slightly nerfed as well, but the Divinicore got better. So actually, I'm curious to see if Divinicore Vex now becomes a new meta line. We'll probably see a resurgence of Divinicore Zed because I think, again, Zed is so good. I think he's very underrated as a unit. And then it looks like Vex damage has been nerfed 190 to 180 on 1 stars. Doesn't really matter because typically right now you have to roll for the 2-star on 4-2. 285 down to 270, so 15 less on the 2-star damage, and 3-star has not changed. So Vex has been slightly nerfed on 1-star and 2-star, so slightly less stable on your on Vex 1 and 2. Okay, I mean, I think it's fine. At the end of the day, Vexotech, like, the real crutch is Varus too. That's the huge crutch on the composition. And actually, the whole entire comp itself is locked by the fact you don't have a good Exotech item on your Varus. If you can't get 3 or 5 Exotech that is good for Varus, you don't even angle it at all. So that is a little interesting to see that they're nerfing Vex and not Varus, but I digress. Next one. 5 cost units. I mean, Vex still needs to nerf anyways. It's fine. 5 cost units. Rectin 2-star is in a tough spot. We're improving his scaling across the board and making him a better carry when itemized. We also added a silly little big AP ratio to make AP builds an option. Warning, they won't be good. Okay, well, that's pretty funny. This Kabuko change is for sure going to rock the meta. Okay, so Rectin changes mana. Goes from 70 and 150 to 70 and 140. So he actually casts a little bit faster now, so he can get those phase 1 and phase 2 casts a little sooner. Rectin ability cast, 300% AD plus 40% AP, goes down to 100% AD, but plus 260% and 400% EP. So, interesting. Okay. And then his Rectin HP gain on cast goes, it's increased by 100 on his level 2. It goes from 550 up to 650. But his double strike's AD percentage has gone up from 175 to 180%, and his triple strike AD percentage has gone from 270 up to 300%. So it really does seem like you really want to value that Renekton casting ASAP, right? That's what it is really saying, because you want to get to that triple strike AD percentage as soon as possible. That being said, I don't know if this is enough to make him good enough, but once you get him like going, this seems to be like really, really good. And actually, funny enough, this looks like a buff to AD Renekton. With Rapid Fire Crest. So that seems to be a slightly better composition that comes out of this. At least that's what I first see here. So that's kind of interesting. Not sure how this, again, really sure how this affects Renekton in general, but I will say though, if you're playing Vex with Zed, you could move the Zed items onto Renekton eventually, or you could just cap out with the Renekton 2 with just third items onto him. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Vertical Divinicore is looking really solid this patch. So that's pretty interesting to see. So, cool. Silver... Oh, sorry. 3-star Kabuko shield no longer expires. Why would... Oh, no, that's a buff to 3-star Kabuko. Okay, cool. That's fine. 3-star Kabuko, who cares? Alright, moving on. Silver augments. He doesn't need a weapon. He needs a champion augment. Adaptive Strikes Jax has been buffed. So the hero augment for Jax has been buffed up to... Wow, another 50 AP on Jax 1. Jax 2, and Jax 3. Oh, interesting. And base damage has been buffed as well to 130, 200, and 300 AP. Preparation, 1 HP. Oh, sorry, excuse me. So let's talk about Jax first. I mean, you can ask anybody. This Augment's underperforming. So, sure, maybe it makes it good enough. Can't really tell. I thought last patch was already going to be, like, potentially playable. It was not. Maybe with, like, the correct Exotech item, this could be playable. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little hard to say. But I'm excited to see if this actually changes anything. Preparation 1 HP stack. So Silver Preparation has been buffed to an additional 1 HP per stack. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Preparation 1 HP per stack is increased by 20 to 30, so an extra 10. So, nice little change there. Fine. Silas Hero Augment also getting buffed as well. Going from 180 to 180, 210, 240 to 220, 250, 280. So, in additional, it looks like 40 health gain, 40 health gain, and 40 across the board. And then it looks like his base damage increased by 30 on level 1, 50 on level 2, and then 75 on level 3. So, again, this comp has also not been very playable, but maybe, just maybe, Wolf Unchained Silas with the Vanguard vertical buffs is enough to make this comp playable. Maybe. I think vertical vanguards has been like the main way you're supposed to play this line, but anima, the vertical trade, also gives a lot of stats. So it's possible that you also play this in the vertical anima as well. And when I say stats, I mean specifically armor MR. So I could see it going both ways. Cool. Maybe we'll see it. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, with everything else getting nerfed around, and anima has actually been like kind of, it's been good, but it's augment dependent. So I'm curious to see if this is enough to push anima into the spotlight with Wolf Unchained. And you can tempo with it. Hard to say though. Hard to say. But overall, I don't know if it's hard to say. I think overall, not likely, but it is something that might be clickable. I mean, I feel like this patch we're going to be experimenting a lot. I feel like a lot of things have shifted around, so this makes it a pretty interesting patch. At least for a couple days. We never know after a couple days. Gold augments have been changed as well, making 10k IQ smarter, Bronze for Life livelier, Flatline flatter, Golem smaller, and High Voltage less electric. So let's go over this. 10k IQ, a lot of changes here. Units granted, LeBlanc Echo becomes Yuumi Echo. And then 10k IQ clarified that the gold reward is always granted after 5 rounds. Okay, so that's pretty good. 10k IQ guaranteed gold reward becomes from 2 to 8. And 10k IQ random completed item becomes a completed item anvil. So definitely a lot of buffs to 10k IQ. Again, this augment is not available on 2-1 anymore. It's available starting 3-2. I'm not really sold on it. It's supposed to be an augment that's supposed to scale your comp into the super late game and you're supposed to win out with it. I don't think it's enough, to say the least, but I'm glad to see that there are some changes being made so that this augment can potentially become clickable as well in the future. I think realistically speaking, you only play this when you're playing LeBlanc Yuumi reroll, and then you click it on 3-2, and then you'd want to like win starting like stage 3 and you roll deep in tempo, and then stage 4 happens, you roll for the LeBlanc and the Yuumi. This is supposed to be, weirdly enough, feels like a cap out high, but you would take it from a tempo spot, at least if you're playing around LeBlanc. That's how I see it. So, bit of a mixed identity crisis there. Not the biggest fan, but at least it does become a bit more appealing. Next one, Bronze for Life, the gold one. Damage and purchase has been increased by 0.5%. That seems fine. I feel like the gold one feels a little bit lackluster, so I'm glad that this is getting buffed. But you usually wouldn't even take this augment unless you're playing Bronze for Life comps anyways, so I don't think it changes too much. Caretaker's Favorite grants items retroactively if picked at a higher level than the level threshold. No Caretaker's Chosen already worked this way. Okay, cool. So now we have confirmation that Caretaker's works retroactively. That is perfect. That is great. So glad that we have this fully stated in the most clearest way possible. That is amazing. And glad to hear that Caretaker's Chosen also works retroactively. I did not know that this was the case. Glad to see that they included that. Climb the ladder stats have been nerfed down to 5. Not really sure if this is necessary. I think this is only really good because Brand and Street Demon was so good. So that's kind of the only thing. Implants 2 no longer appears on 2-1. Thank you. That augment's like dick on 2-1. Flatline execution percentage dropped down to 10%. It's probably still a very strong augment. I'd be surprised if this really changes too much. I think, again, Marksman Vanguard looks like, from what I can tell, especially with Marksman Crest, is going to be pretty strong. But with the less items in general across every game, the comp itself does suffer slightly more. So I don't know. We'll see. Golemify has been nerfed as well. Thank God. Way too strong of a unit. HP percentage has gone from 70 down to 60%, and the 80% has gone from 60 down to 50%. So still a good sizable nerf. Is it enough to make Golemify unclickable? Probably not, but still very solid. And again, Golemify is going to be one of those augments you take when you're completely uncontested. So if you're uncontested, you have a good spot for it, and you have decent amount of money, feel free to take it. I'm sure it's still perfectly fine. High score. No longer grants Cyber Boss attack speed per high score. And then high score rewards are slightly reduced at each high score. So that's actually a new table now for, I believe it's supposed to say new high score. This is the augments, yeah? So new high score, excuse me. No longer grants Cyber Bosses attack speed per high score. And then new high score rewards are slightly reduced at each high score. So it seems like there is a new table as well alongside less attack speed. So the augment itself is slightly worse. I mean, they did buff Kabuko 3-star, and then they didn't touch any of the other Cyber Boss units, and then they buffed Vertical Techie. I don't know, man. This was the only way that Veigar Reroll ever really felt playable, but maybe because everything else is getting nerfed now, it's playable anyway, so maybe it's fine. But I'm a little interested to see that they did this, although, albeit the augment did need a nerf, because, I mean, if you compare new high score to whatchamacallit, Cower Weaklings, new high score was way better. And at the end of the day, it's because of the augment giving you a Kabuko. That was the big reason why this augment was so good, was because you get to unlock 4 Cyber Boss basically for free. So interesting to see how that plays out. High voltage damage has been buffed 25% down to 50. High voltage damage increases 25 to 15%. I think these numbers are flipped. It should be 15 to 25%, yes. Am I missing something here? 15 to 25% instead. I think this is fine. I don't know if it really makes the augment that much more clickable. You really click it if you like just really need a spark. And even then, like, maybe it's a little bit better to take the tempo with, but I'm not entirely sure. I really hope that at one point we see that high voltage scavenger Pandora's items becomes a thing, because that shit is so fun. But like I don't see a world where it's ever really viable. Hostile takeover has been banned in double up. Okay, so sucks for double up players, I guess. Or maybe it's a good thing. I don't know anything about double up. No scout, no pivot has been buffed as well. The HP per turn has been increased to 14. And no scout, no pivot AD AP has been increased by 0.5%. This only really seems like it's good in Nitro reroll anyways. So I'm curious to see if this is enough to really tip shit over the edge. But I mean, I don't like this augment in general. And I think right now it's really only takeable with 1 cost reroll. So good enough, I guess. I mean, again, I would really only take it in Nitro reroll anyways. And it wasn't playable until this patch potentially. So we'll see. Pair of 4s have been nerfed by the HP from 404 down to 344, so minus 60. And then the pair of 4 cost granted goes from 2 to 3. It's increased? Huh? Oh, interesting. Okay, so this looks like a net neutral nerf. You get less combat power, but you get slightly more 4 cost, and maybe you can find your 2-star 4 cost a little bit faster. I mean, overall, it's a nerf. Preparation 2, HP per stacks has been buffed as well by another 10. So gold prep, I think that's fine. I think for some reason, I feel like I get offered this always on 3-2 for some reason. And 3-2 is like way harder to play around than 2-1. So, meh. I mean, okay, to be fair though, you take it on 3-2 if your spot was good enough for it. But it's a little easier, or it's a little more clear to know whether or not you can click it on 3-2. But, yeah, does this make this like insane though? Probably not. I mean, for 3 cost reroll, it's probably good. But so far, outside of Elise, nothing really stood out to me as like, oh, this will be a good augment. Or a good 3 cost reroll, excuse me. But maybe some things shift around, who knows. Spirit Link base HP regen has also been nerfed from 6% down to 5%. That's good. Spirit Link was very overtuned. Prismatic Augment. Let's take a second. Hold on. Just, excuse me. Ugh. Matcha, bro. I'm such a matcha boy, bro. Holy shit. So good. Ugh. We've been yapping for a minute. I don't know how more does this shit. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I yap all the time, so I shouldn't be talking. Anyways, I'm such a dude. Ugh. Did I say I'm such a matcha boy? That's such a pick me. Okay. What a tool. Prismatic augments. Cybernetic implants. Takes a few items to deliver its prismatic's worth of power, so we're pushing it to later augment offerings. We're also updating wise spending to avoid the incredibly high roll synergies with some of our other augments. Lastly, we've opted to disable Future Sight, which despite receiving a nerf earlier this set, continues to overperform and outrage enemies. That seems like a player diff. I think if players get better, it will change. But myself included, though, admittedly, I definitely get Zephyred and Shrouded a bit too often because I get a little too lazy. So, yeah, anyways. Blue Battery has been nerfed from 15 down to 5 AP. Good. I think this augment was very strong, and you'd only click it in really good spots that you need it. So for Vex, it would be super, super strong. But regardless, still a good nerf. Bronze for Life 2. Damage per amp per tray has been buffed by another 0.5%. I think that's good. Again, I wouldn't really take this augment anyways unless I was playing a Bronze for Life like board anyways, but good to see again buffed. I think it rewards a lot of flexible play and like flexing in units, so I think it's cool. Bulky Buddies 3 has been nerfed. Good. Very overtuned augment, so glad to see that being the case. Cybernetic Implants 3 no longer appears on 2-1. Thank the Lord. Future Sight is... Oh, it's disabled. Oh! You know, I read that earlier and it just did not click in my head. Future Sight disabled. Okay. Good, actually. Fuck that augment. I hate it. Gargantuan Resolve and armor MR increase has gone from 50 to 80%. So interesting. So that's pretty cool. Wow. Huh. That sounds like True Bis Rengar. I wonder how good it is now. I mean, the 7th Street, the trait itself did not get nerfed. So actually, Rengar for a Street Demon is slightly better now. Interesting to see how that plays out. Hard Commit grants 3 gold on selection and every stage. Okay, I think that's fine. I mean, this Hard Commit augment just feels like sometimes you get thrown into a terrible line. It gets better as the set gets older, actually, because the set becomes more balanced. So, we'll see how that plays out. High-end shopping gold granted is increased to 12. I don't think you should really be buffing this augment, generally speaking. That's just for me. I think this augment has its place when you have a lot of money and you can just kind of just like buy out the units. And like I mean, I don't know, it feels like you only buy from like really good spots that it makes no sense not to click on it, you know what I mean? And sure, every augment should be like that, but high-end shopping in particular feels like one of those augments that like you really only click it in like very specific case scenarios, so it's already good in those scenarios. I don't think you really need to buff it, me personally. Shopping spree gold granted has been nerfed down to 2. I don't think anyone was asking for shopping spree nerfs. I think that's a bit ridiculous. Why spending XP gain 2 XP per roll to 3 XP per 2 rolls? Effect only counts for rerolls purchased with gold. Tooltip has been rephrased. So let's see, 2 XP per roll, 3 XP per rolls. Effect only counts for rerolls purchased with gold. So this is good. This is good. This actually nerfs the prismatic ticket why spending interaction, which is an absolute fucking bitch. So I'm glad that this got removed because this is super great that this happens. And actually, it's getting nerfed. No, you're increasing the XP, but the effect only affects rolls purchased with gold. So overall, I mean, I think this is fine. I don't know how often people are going to be clicking on this augment, but nowadays with people being a bit more open to re-rolling on 7 for their 2-cost re-roll boards and getting a lot of 3-stars in the way, I'm interested to see if this becomes a little bit better. But an increase in XP is not really what you want to see for a line like that, because you don't want to be going to 8 without hitting your units. So I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to see how this plays out. Me personally, I don't think I ever click on this augment ever, so maybe a better player could, you know, provide their 2 cents on this change. Let's see. But I mean, effectively, you're getting what? 2 XP per reroll, 3 XP per... Yeah, okay, anyway, I'm not gonna math. Whatever. Moving on. Items. Bastion Emblem Armor to AP, 10% up to 20%. So, Emblem has been buffed. Don't think this changes anyway how you play it. The Animal Emblem amp per 10 mana spent has been buffed by 0.5%. Again, doesn't change anything. Marksman Emblem Armor Shred has been increased to 3. I think this is ridiculous. You don't have to. I think you already get an insane amount of AD from the trait itself that I don't think that you really need to be buffing the emblem itself. I don't think anyone really cares about this too much. No one's putting Marksman Emblem on their carry thinking that it's a Last Whisper replacement. Like, that's just not how that's working out. Slayer Emblem healing increased to 33%. Sizable, but not enough to really care too much about it, but the emblem is slightly more appealing. Mana Zane has been nerfed from 15 to 5 starting mana. Attack speed has gone from 15 down to 10%, and Mana Zane AD has also gone down from 15 to 10%. Good. Overperforming artifact. Good in way too many lines, and enables a lot of interesting lines. So, on the flip side, kind of sad about that latter part, but overall, it does need to get nerfed. It's too strong. Small changes. Small like the size of this section. Traits. Underperforming chase traits. Street Demon, 7 down. Oh, so they did nerf 7 Street Demon. Oh, perfect. Great. All right, let's go over each one. Anima, 7-piece armor MR has been buffed to 40. So, okay. Interesting. Amp 4-piece HP has gone from 400 down to 300, and the Amp 4-piece charge power has gone from 3 up to 4. So, okay. Amp 4-piece HP goes down to 300, so less HP, but more charge power. Okay. So they're making Amp 4 a bit more stable. Okay. I think that's fine. It becomes a Samira lottery because like it's like, do you ever get to 5? Okay, I think that's fine. Bastion 6-piece base armor has been buffed by 5. I mean, I don't think anyone's playing 6 Bastion, man. Dynamo 4-piece mana regen has been increased by 1. That seems okay. I don't know if it's enough to really push anything over the edge, but sure. Exotech Flux Capacitor has been increased by 5% AD. Flux has been buffed, so that's good. I think Zeri could really use it. Marksman 4-piece AD bonus has been increased by 5%. That seems a bit egregious. I don't think that was necessary at all. 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman was already very good, and it was only bad if you didn't have the items to itemize your carries. So that is very suspicious. Marksman with MF seems disgustingly good. I think Marksman emblem now on I don't know if on 2-1 it's clickable, but this definitely does seem a bit more clickable now. Sorry, by the way, if you notice I'm like hunched over, I'm leaning on my chair. I've been standing for too long. Rapid Fire 4-piece attack speed has been buffed by 11%. Not really sure if that matters, but it's a good like mid-game like trait to utilize, and then you just take it off. It's very niche though. You don't really play it too often. And the Street Demon 7-piece has been going from 17 down to 16, so nerfed by 1%. Okay. Not the biggest of nerfs. I guess they just don't want to gut the comp altogether, but seeing that the 7-piece did get nerfed overall, though, is a good sign to see. So, again, they're not trying to gut the comp, it seems like, but they just want to make sure that the comp itself is still playable enough from certain lines. Bug fixes. Always split. Fix a missing armory choice on one of the stage 3 variants of the to split or not to split. Good. That was always annoying. Big if true. Stage 3 big carousel no longer has an extra unit with no item. Did not know that. But that's what transit is for. Anima Squad's final transit can no longer hit other boards. That's what they said last time. I don't know if that's true. Spelling is hard. Nice. Tome Carousel banner announcement is now spelled correctly. Good, very good. Street Demon Empowered Hexes now show the correct stats during the planning phase. Thank you. That was very annoying. Tagging Spree now correctly grants attack speed to non-street demons. Did not know that was the case. 2-star 3-cost carousel now works. Good. More like Misfortune. Fix a bug where Misfortune's first wave could fire in an odd direction. That was really annoying, actually. I don't know if any of you knew that, but I guess no one really played Misfortune too often. But every once in a while, it could fire in a weird way, so I'm glad they fixed it. Fix the bug where 3-star Kabuko wasn't doing the intended damage after the rework. Oh, okay, interesting. And then Masterwork Upgrade no longer duplicates an item when used on a unit during combat who stars up after combat. What? Masterwork Upgrade no longer duplicates an item when used on a unit during combat who stars up after combat? That was in the game? Oh, hell no. Oh my god. Okay, well, anyways. That's gonna do it for this patch rundown. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was fun. If you have any questions, feel free to ask him. I am not Riot affiliated. I don't do anything on the Riot team. I am completely just a content creator who does his own shit and just talks about the game and loves the game very much. So that's gonna do it for this one. I'm gonna lower my standing desk now so I can sit down because I've been standing for way too long and I'm probably gonna turn on stream. So hope this was helpful. Hope this was fun, and I will see you guys in the next one. And until then, take care, guys. Take care. Happy climbing.